The detention cell aboard the Krithax warship hummed with the low frequency that all captives learned to hate. Anna pressed her palm against the energy barrier, watching the purple shimmer respond to her touch. Across the corridor, James sat with his back against the wall, 3 days of stubble darkening his jaw. "They're coming again," Anna whispered, though the translation matrix would carry her words to their captors, regardless of volume. The K-Earthax commander materialized through the barrier, his katana's form clicking with each deliberate movement. Behind him, 2 guards flanked the entrance, their weapons humming with lethal potential. The commander's compound eyes fixed on James with an intensity that made Anna's stomach clench. "Human male," the commander said, his translator rendering the words in perfect, emotionless English. "You will comply with standard protocols. All species aboard this vessel maintain proper grooming standards. You will remove the facial follicles immediately." James didn't move. He met the alien's gaze with the kind of calm that Anna had learned meant trouble was brewing. "I don't think so," James said simply. The commander's mandibles clicked in what might have been confusion or irritation. "This is not a request. It is regulation. You have been provided with appropriate tools. Comply." "No." Anna had seen James stubborn before. She'd watched him argue with admirals, refuse direct orders when he thought they were wrong, even face down a plasma rifle during the Battle of Proxima Station. But this was different. This was insane. "James," she hissed, "just shave." "It's not worth Anna." He cut her off, his voice gentle but firm. "Trust me." The commander's translator emitted a sound that suggested mounting frustration. "In 17 cycles, we reached the primary fleet. You will be presented before the hierarchy. Unkempt specimens reflect poorly on this vessel's operations. You will comply, or you will be groomed by force." "You shave me," James said, standing slowly, "and I'll kill you." The cell went silent. Even the background hum seemed to pause. Anna's breath caught in her throat. The cracks were the dominant military power in 3 sectors. They had crushed the Veltran rebellion in 6 hours. They had hunted the ghost ships of Andromeda to extinction. And James had just threatened their commander while imprisoned, unarmed, and outnumbered by several million. The commander's posture shifted. His guards raised their weapons. "Elaborate," the commander said coldly. "Humans have this thing," James continued, his tone conversational, almost friendly. "We call it the social contract. You've studied us, right? Analyzed our wars, our tactics, our psychology." "Extensively," the commander replied. "Your species is noted for irrational aggression, and you missed the most important part." James stepped closer to the barrier. "We're cooperative. Incredibly so. We'll follow rules, even rules we don't like, because we understand that society requires structure. But there's a threshold, a line that, when crossed, breaks the contract entirely." Anna watched the commander's eyes track James's every movement. She'd seen that look before, on opponents who suddenly realized they'd miscalculated. "You're threatening me with a hypothetical social construct?" the commander asked. "I'm explaining why I'm not hypothetically threatening you at all." James smiled, and Anna recognized it. The smile that came before the impossible. "See, you've been treating us like specimens, study subjects. You've catalogued our weapons, our ships, our military capabilities, but you haven't understood what makes humans dangerous. Which is, we're persistence hunters. Commander, did you know that, back on Earth, before we built cities and spacecraft, we hunted prey by just following them, for days, for weeks. We'd track an animal until it literally died from exhaustion, because we just wouldn't stop. We couldn't match their speed, couldn't match their strength, but we could outlast them." The commander's mandibles were perfectly still now. "You want me to shave?" James continued. "That's a small thing, trivial, even, but it's my choice, and you want to take it by force. You want to cross that line, and once you do, I become what my species evolved to be. Patient, relentless, focused on a single objective with every fiber of my being. You're one human in a cell. For now." James's smile widened. "But patience, remember. Oh wait, I'll comply with everything else. I'll be a model prisoner. And then, someday, when you've forgotten this conversation, when your guard is down for just 1 second, I'll make good on my promise. Maybe it takes a month, maybe a year, maybe a decade. Humans live a long time, Commander, and we never, ever forget." Anna saw it then, the slight shift in the commander's posture, the microscopic hesitation. "You're insane," the commander said, but his translator carried a note of uncertainty. "No," James corrected. "I'm human, and you've studied enough of our history to know what that means. We fought wars that lasted centuries. We held grudges across generations. We tracked individual enemies across entire continents just to settle a score. All I'm asking is that you respect one tiny choice, or don't, and find out if I'm bluffing." The silence stretched. Anna held her breath. Finally, the commander stepped back. "The grooming regulation will be suspended for human captives. Cultural exemption protocols apply." He dematerialized through the barrier, guards following. Anna stared at James. What the hell was that? James slumped against the wall, letting out a shaky breath. "Something my grandfather taught me. When you're outgunned and out of options, make them believe you're crazier than you are. Humans have a reputation now. Sometimes reputation is the only weapon we need." That was insane. "Yeah," he grinned, running a hand over his stubble. "But it worked. And Anna, when we get out of here and we will remind me to actually thank Grandpa for the beer genetics. Turns out growing facial hair might have just saved our lives." Anna couldn't help it. She laughed, because that was humanity in a nutshell. Finding the strangest, most ridiculous ways to survive, and somehow, impossibly, making it work. The Krethax had conquered dozens of species, but they'd never faced anyone quite as stubbornly, persistently, unreasonably human as James and the billions like him, and they were just beginning to understand what that meant. End.